going to have a look at making the end caps for the cylinder. This is the bit of material that they provide for that. Looking at the plans, I'm a bit unsure about the material to use for the piston rod. They provide this part here, but it seems to be a too large a diameter, and I don't fancy trying to turn it down into something thinner, so I think what I'm going to do is use this anyway as it is and just adjust accordingly the parts that this interacts with. So where it joins onto the crank pin, the size of the hole in the piston, and obviously the bottom end cap for the cylinder needs to accommodate this larger size. I'm not sure how it's going to look. It may look a bit bulky, and if it does, I can always reduce to a smaller size. It'll just mean remaking the piston, the end cap and the connector. But I'm going to use this and see how it turns out. It may be okay in the end, but definitely some confusion with the plans, and they don't seem to provide a bit of stock the correct size for what the plans suggest needs to be used for the piston rod. I am starting with the top end cap by turning the stock down to diameter. I then turned down the end of the stock until it was a tight fit in the cylinder. This is so that the cap centrally locates in the correct place on the end of the cylinder. Okay, that seems to fit on there flush. No wobble. That was a bit of luck. The cylinder has a decorative feature consisting of a vase cylinder the same diameter as the bore. I used a parting tool to create this feature. I then used the parting tool to part off the part. I drilled a hole for the piston rod. I used the parting tool to reduce the diameter of the last section of the cap. This feature acts as a guide for the piston rod. I assume this keeps the piston parallel to the bore, and also the long section also reduces the airflow to keep in more pressured steam, so that some of the energy can be used to move the piston back up in the cylinder. So I had some issues there with that one, with this getting pulled out of the chuck. So this is the top cap, and you can see there's a few gouges in the top, so when parting it off, I'm not sure what happened. It got caught up and bent, so I had to saw that off with the hacksaw, and then I've been sanding this down. That feature on the top is much thinner than it needs to be, but that's just decoration. I could probably sand this down just to get rid of that completely, but I think I'll leave it like that. Mistakes add character, I guess. That fits nicely in the end of the cylinder, and I can see down in the bore that the port is still open, so and the edge of the radius there doesn't interfere with the cylinder where it meets the main body by the looks of it. So I'd say it's a usable part, not the best work ever, but obviously need a bit of practice with the parting off tool, which is more evident when it gets to this. Again, this was ripped out of the chuck, a big dink there. Again, it fits in the cylinder, it doesn't block the port. It's a nice nice fitment. That chunk out of it could be hidden there, so it's less visible. Another mark there, and not the best finish on the bottom. I think there were some gouges taken out there when it got ripped out of the chuck as well. But I had to re-put that back in the chuck, obviously, and finish turning this diameter, which is a larger diameter due to the larger diameter on the plans due to me using a larger diameter pin. So I'm using the circle layout feature for bolt holes on the DRO. I've got the bottom cap in the vise, and I'm just going to use a center. Just going to use a spot drill just to mark the positions, and then what I'll do is I'll spin the disc round so that I can then drill each hole by lining up the drill bit with the hole or the indentation, so that I can end up missing the vice jaws. So this is how it turned out. Took a bit of adjusting to get these to fit. When I put the two end caps together, all of the holes lined up when I turned it around to each position, but these rods would not line up with the holes in the cylinder. So I'm not sure what went wrong there, whether it's just inaccuracies in the cylinder, or if when I drilled the holes I didn't find the centre of the part correctly and was slightly offset. So I put it in the vise in the milling machine, and I opened up the through holes by a couple of drill sizes and drilled all the way through, relieving some of the brass in the cylinder to allow for the rods to go through. The piston rod goes in okay, a little bit loose maybe. Guess we'll see how that affects the running when we come to that. Might be a case that I need to remake this bottom cap again. So yeah, didn't turn out great, had a lot of issues, but gonna proceed with it as it is, and see if these parts are at least functional, even though they're not the best looking, with some of the scrapes and mishaps.